Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is February 24th, and today we'll take a look at this system and how much snowfall it dropped and see how the models did. Then we'll take a look at coming on into next week as we look to go into a warmer, wetter, and potential windier pattern. And then we'll take a look at the extended, which looks like we might go back into a cooler period for the first week of March. So La Nina never far away during this winter. You can see that nice coating of snowfall they got through eastern Washington there. And you can see some of that action up there towards Mount Vernon, Bellingham, the San Juans, and Port Angeles, Port Townsend area where some clouds are still being advected across the Puget Sound there. You can see a little bit of Puget Sound effect snows as they move from north to south through the Sound there. Lake Kootenay out here in Canada. You can see this relatively warmer water probably bringing this Arctic air moving over top of it, creating a little bit of instability and some clouds that moves down. Kind of an interesting feature there. But anyway, you can see the clouds moving down across the region. Still some light snow going on through Oregon, as even Oregon and the Willamette Valley got a little bit of snow early this morning. And that continues for the most part for a little bit. And checking out the snowfall totals here, you can see the winners were generally Port Angeles, Port Townsend, Whidbey Island, Camino Island, San Juan, Bellingham, Mount Vernon areas. The rest of the areas got pretty much generally light amounts, half inch or less for the most part, but a nice little coating to wake up to, caused some pretty slippery road surfaces this morning. And you can see those totals down into Portland, Willamette Valley. They got a little bit of snowfall all the way down towards Salem here. Looks like Albany was kind of the cutoff, Salem-Albany area. But they could still see a little bit of snow flurry action going on into this morning. And eastern Washington, Ritzville, an inch and a half, Wenatchee up towards 2 inches in some areas there. So a nice coating, very cold temperatures over there for eastern Washington, and some the higher terrain for northeast Oregon also getting on the snow action, as well as portions of Idaho and western Montana. So checking out the radar here, you can see that system sliding south. Treasure Valley still getting some snowfall going down there towards Boise and towards Twin Falls. Pocatello still getting some snow, and you can see that snowfall mainly retreating on into the Cascades of Oregon here and kind of going over the higher terrain of Oregon here as well, so that as that moves out of the Washington area. And here we go. Here's some watches and warnings for the rest of the country. Some freeze warnings for portions of central California. That ongoing winter storm with some sleet, freezing rain, heavy snows as this moves all the way up through the northeast. There's now winter storm warnings in effect for areas of the northeast there. And some freezing rain could reach all the way towards New York. Freezing rain, snowfall, sleet. So this is looking around the area now. There was a special weather statement for slick roads. This could have been extended really out through the entire area of Puget Sound here, as there was pretty slick roads all the way down through really Tacoma this morning. So that could have easily been extended. And down there for Sacramento, you can see getting some really cold airs. This Arctic air made it all the way out towards California, even towards the Bay Area. They're pretty chilly freeze warnings and hard freeze warnings for some areas of the valley there. And just looking at the passes, generally light precipitation amount, so it shouldn't take much to get the snow off the roads there. But you can see it is still looks pretty slick. White Pass, Stevens Pass, Blewett Pass. Just have a heads up if you're out there traveling across the mountain passes this morning. Now taking a look at the NAM, what we can expect for the next couple of days. You can see these clouds retreating south. It's brought our snowfall overnight. Very weak system for the most part. And then you can see Friday looks like another sunny day. So we should have some nice sunshine today and tomorrow before the next system high clouds start to approach the area Friday night into Saturday morning there. You can see the next one finally starting to come in here. Should be all rain by the time we transition back to precipitation for western portions, the lowlands anyway, mountain snows, but there could be some snowfall in the eastern portions of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana with this next system coming up here as they transition to a little bit warmer after that system. Here is the NAM. We should warm up towards the low 40s today. For some of the areas here, you can see western Oregon, Washington getting pretty warm, but still staying pretty chilly east portions of the states. And this is the GFS. This is kind of just showing the next system and the timing of it. Looks like rain reaches the coast Saturday morning probably, and then extends over the Puget Sound and western Oregon and brings some snowfall to the eastern portions of the state. So this is, we're going to go back into the rainfall probably Saturday night and on into Sunday as a couple of strong systems start to move up the coastline here towards the Queen Charlottes. And there's been some disagreement in the models on just what kind of systems are going to move over us here. We could get some breezy conditions. Doesn't look like a major windstorm right now, but we'll keep our eyes on it. Looking at the European here too, showing that snowfall sliding down and out of the region here. And then the timing of the next system, again, pretty good agreement. Saturday morning as we go on into the weekend, and Sunday morning looks like some pretty good snows coming for the Cascades and Olympic Mountains, and some good old-fashioned rain for the lowlands. And that snow could be a snow event for eastern portions of Washington and northeast portions of Oregon, as the European shows a pretty deep low here moving up towards the Queen Charlottes here on Sunday night. So we'll watch the track on that as we go, and we'll watch for any low pressure development potentially on the south side of this swinging up through our area. So checking out precip totals for Seattle going on into next week, you can see some of the ensemble members have well over an inch here for a 24-hour period. Control just over an inch, and the mean is almost near an inch. So we'll return to some rainy conditions, and like I said, we'll watch for some windstorm potential with that also. Checking out Seattle, you can see our chilly temperatures are going to last until about Saturday morning, and then that freezing air, this Arctic air, will be a distant memory by the time we get into early next week as we return to the 50s for highs with some rainier conditions. And looking at windstorm potential, you can see there are some smattering of the ensemble runs showing something up into the 40s, even a couple higher scenarios in there too, but nothing to be worried about just yet. We'll keep an eye on it here over the next couple days as these systems become more clear and what path they're going to take and just how strong they'll be here in the next couple days. So here's Bellingham, and these systems that move up towards the Queen Charlottes would favor this area for windier conditions. So you can see that's why there are some ensemble members with some gusts up over 50 miles per hour. But again, we'll watch that as it comes in. And Portland being further south, that shows up well in the ensemble runs here too. They would tend to get less wind speeds with these systems. This is Queen Charlotte Islands up here. Check this out. Look at some of these. These are kilometers, by the way, not miles per hour, but pretty good wind speeds. Will be returning to that area with some good old-fashioned Pacific systems moving up towards that way. Just thought I'd show you guys that. Here's Spokane. Check out these lows for the next few days. Saturday morning is going to be really cold. Then you'll see there's going to be this transition on Saturday as they get some wintry precip with this, and then they start to warm up a bit on into early next week as well. Here is Spokane, the snowfall totals here as you go on into Sunday morning. You can see some of the ensemble members have some pretty decent amounts in there, but generally light as a whole. You can see the control and the mean are just around an inch. So one more snowy period to go through for Spokane before you warm up a bit on into mid next week. Now looking at the extended a bit more here, here's our initial system that went through and the little brush that we got last night that brought our little snowfall across the region. You see that slide down out of the area. The ridge temporarily rebuilds, and then the next system starts to slide in here on Saturday night, and then another one on its heels going on into Sunday night, and potentially another one on to early next week, which showed up in some of those precipitation amounts for SeaTac. And we're going to check out the extended even more here too. We'll go off way into the extended here in a bit, but this is the European model here showing these systems when this first one moves up towards southeast. And this stronger low, you can see this approaching the Queen Charlottes or the northern tip of Vancouver Island. That's one we're going to watch for a track that, if this is going to be a little bit closer, could create some windier conditions for western Washington, Oregon. And we'll watch for surface low development on the southern periphery of this entire complex of low pressure systems here. It doesn't take a very strong system if it forms in the right area and comes across the region to cause some pretty windy conditions. So that's what we're watching for going on in next week. And we will look at the extended here just in a minute too. I just wanted to show some precipitation amounts here first. And you can see our weak system that slid through last night and this morning. And then here comes the Pacific rain storm train as it comes in here. You can see these precipitation amounts as the storm track finally takes aim at the Pacific Northwest here. Okay, so now this is last night's European run. We'll go into the extended a little bit here. This was just the operational run, and you can see a little bit of a system riding on the south side of this one that goes up towards the Queen Charlottes, and a deeper low moves up towards the Queen Charlottes again, and some more development on the south side of that. So we'll see how these pan out. But it does definitely look like a more active stormy pattern here. And then as we go into the future, you see the ridge rebuild. And you can see a little bit of troughing here that would probably move down the coast. And we'll look at the ensemble runs here too. This was last night's ensemble run, so we can go ahead and look out into the extended and look at what that ridge is going to do or what it's pointing at. This has been fairly, there's some good confidence in the extended with this ridge building. All the models are showing it, the Canadian, the European, and the GFS. And then you'll see this next one moving down as some Arctic air sags into British Columbia and way off in the extended. Again, this is way far out, but there is some model agreement with this. La Nina winter, they tend to hang on through March and even into early April for the Pacific Northwest. This is the GFS ensemble here. Let's put this into motion. There's that temporary ridge as we start to get those systems moving in off the Pacific. So good agreement with those storm systems bringing us precipitation through early and mid next week. And then you can see that ridge rebuilding into early March. As we go further, you can see kind of that troughing with that. This is a pattern for colder Arctic air to be up just north of us and troughing over the west coast. So just something to watch into the future. Again, we may not be done with the chilly temperatures, but of course, as you get into early March, early and mid-March here, it becomes you need a much more dynamic system to bring snowfall down to the lowlands. So you got to keep that in mind once you start going off into mid-March here. Here is the Canadian ensemble run. And you can see good agreement with the Gulf of Alaska lows spinning around and coming up towards the Queen Charlotte's and Vancouver Island. And then in the extended, good agreement on that ridge rebuilding, kind of taking shape over the Yukon and showing that west coast troughing here and that colder Arctic air up over northern British Columbia. But again, there's plenty of time to watch for that as you see that troughing develop in the extended there on the Canadian European mean. So that's what we're looking at for today. And yeah, so get out and enjoy the sunshine today, and tomorrow should be really nice. Cold mornings, so watch out for that black ice, especially in eastern Washington as some of this melting goes on during the day today with the sunshine. Then there's going to be a lot of refreezing tonight. But yeah, get out there and enjoy that weather for the next couple of days before the rain returns on into Saturday night. The clouds will return Saturday. The rain will return Saturday night into Sunday morning. And then we'll probably be getting one system after another for a few days into mid next week. And then we will continue to look on to the extended into tomorrow's briefing. And other than that, yeah, get out and enjoy the sunshine, and hope you guys enjoyed the snow last night. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow.